Hubert Davis said what he probably was always going to say, in that it wasn't as bad as people are saying. We still won 20-plus games.
Boy.
Your reaction.
Hubert is the eternal optimist.
Yes, he is.
I mean, he is, so he probably believes it.
What does he have to do year 3?
I mean, they got to get back to being relevant. Well, first things first, they better get some help for Armando Bacot and R.J. Davis. That's no disrespect, but better than bringing in Ivy League players as transfers. They better bring in some dudes. They better bring in some guys, load up. You know, they lost a lot of their bench as well. I mean, I don't even know how many guys they have left on the roster right now, but you got two that really, Bacot and R.J., you're going to build around. I like both of those guys. I think, again, to me, Caleb Love, that ran its course. I think it's best for both sides that Caleb Love go elsewhere. That will help. Pete Nance never really worked with this team and this group. So they got a lot of work to do in the portal.
They do.
What's
they do.
the state of Carolina?
I do think that they have a better foundation now, right? They have the guys that gave you a certain level.
Yeah.
Like, you knew how good you were going to be with R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot, which is about here. You need guys around them to lift that ceiling. And the thing was, in 2022, Caleb Love was that guy to lift your ceiling. I feel like in 2023, he was trying to do too much, trying to showcase who he was.
I think he was the same. I actually don't think he was much different. I just think he had a couple of huge games when it mattered most. But before March 5th, how different do you think he was?
It was like early February when they started that run.
Yeah.
Everyone started paying attention after they beat Duke and Cameron, but it was before that they started making that run. So it was probably a good 6 to 8 weeks that he was really, really good.
I think they struggled across the board. They struggled. They never replaced Brady Manning shooting, and everybody else struggled. I mean, everybody across the board. Leaky Black. People don't realize this. Leaky Black shot 40% from three. Leaky Black did, an ACC player a year ago. So, and then you had R.J. Davis and Caleb Love that shot in the upper 30s. They were like 38, 39% from three.
They could not.
And then this year, they regressed back to their freshman year, and they just never replaced Brady Manning and Leaky Black. So the three-point shoot, and you just didn't have to guard them.
That's not, to me, that wasn't a result of them being bad shooters. That was a result of the shots that they were taking.
I think they took the same. That's why I disagree. I think they took the same shots.
You do?
They did.
I think Caleb did.
I think Caleb did, because I think he takes too much
agree.
pressure. He's taking a lot of the blame when I think everyone around him struggled as well. And I think he's the guy everybody's kind of like,
we expected RJ to be better.
Yeah, we expected him to be.
Right,
We did.
right.
And we thought that all of them would be better, even Bacot for that matter.
Armando, I thought, like, okay, if he does what he did the previous year, they're fine.
Well, get him the ball. Get him the ball.
And part of it was on him, but
Some of
yes,
it was
you're
on
right. You're right. But
I mean, you feed the beast.
and
for
they
heaven's sake.
They did some of the time. It didn't fit. It just didn't fit, whether it was, the fact that they had no pressure the year before to being the hunted, and they just couldn't handle that. They just didn't have the personalities and the chemistry.
That's exactly what it was. They didn't have anyone that took ownership over that team. You ask anybody around that program, RC, you're closer to them than any of us were. Ask anyone around that program what changed and what made it flip last year.
Yeah.
And that was Brady Manning taking ownership of that team and setting a tone where it's like, we're not going to do that dumb shit. We're going to play the way that we're supposed to play. They didn't have that guy this year. Like Caleb
They
Love,
weren't having fun.
Yes.
They were not having any fun,
No.
even when they were winning.
No.
It was like,
I also
we can't let
I think
loose.
there was a level of pressure that they found, and it once it kind of spiraled, they were never able to get it back.
No.
And last season, they were never at that level. They didn't have that kind of expectation, right? So they were able to come in, and once it got going, it was fun. It was like, oh shit, North Carolina's good again. But this year, once they lost the game, and they lost a bunch of close games early to good teams that we didn't realize how good they were, right? And then it just kind of started to spiral, and I was like, this isn't fun. This isn't working. We just want this to be over. We're not going to make it. And it got to the point where it's just like, look, some people need a fresh start. Caleb Love needs a fresh start. I got a question for you guys. There's obviously a talented player there. People that could score 27 points and a half in a Final Four game against Duke with that talent, he's a player.
Of course.
Where do you see him going, RC? Where do you want him to go that you can unlock that?
Who's that?
Caleb Love. Because we had a couple ideas last night. I said Arkansas would make a lot of sense to me. because that is a place where Muss will coach up confidence in players, and he will put them in a position where you're going to go one-on-one on this night and just go get a shot up. And if you don't miss it, we're going to go back to you again. If you don't make it, we're going to go back to you
I
again.
think you're going to have to be incredibly patient with him initially, because you're going to have to, if you're asking him to guard and do a lot of different things he didn't do consistently, and how do you change shot selection without benching guys?
You need depth.
You know,
need depth to be able
how
to
do you
bench
do
him.
that? Like, you have to be
Because
able
they never
to,
did that.
You've never,
Hubert never
yes, you know, you can take those shots. One, he's always, I think he's always taking those shots. He just didn't make them. Like,
Well, then why would I want him in my
They're
program?
bad shots. A lot of them are
he-
bad
because
shots.
he's explosive.
Okay.
Because he's explosive. And if you can eliminate the,
You had to rely on
Well, that's
him
just
too
it. Can a
much.
coach
Yes.
reason with him? Is he a player that can be reasoned with?
I think he's taken way too much criticism.
Okay.
I feel like,
Okay, but-
I'm not saying we are, but I just feel like everybody feels like
I agree with
because
you.
he's now leaving, like he was the reason. Everyone down the line, I think, even to Armando, did not play to the level that they got
100%,
playing with.
100%.
And three-point shooting where teams didn't have to guard him.
Today's episode of the Field of 68 After Dark is presented by our partners over at Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's Final Four games. In pick'em, all you do is pick whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether it's points or rebounds or assists or all of them combined. If you're like me and you think Adama Sanogo is going to go nuts this weekend, pick higher on his points projection, pick higher on his rebounds projection, maybe throw in a lower on Matt Bradley's scoring totals, a higher on Isaiah Wong, whatever it is that you like. Put them all together, and if you hit them all, then you can win as much as 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured out how to use it. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, that's FIELD, to get a 100% deposit match up to $100.